Glad to have you back. Insecurity in rural areas, particularly in food-producing states, continue to disrupt agricultural activities. Additionally, extreme weather, including heat waves, droughts, and flood, made the food production increasingly challenging nationwide. Recently, the government rolled out new policies and initiatives to increase food production, drive down prices, and tackle the cost of living crisis. However, Nigeria wonder whether the price hikes can be reversed, as their hopes of relief lies there. In July 2023, President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food insecurity, targeting the food supply shortfall and rising food prices. He unveiled a comprehensive food security, affordability, and sustainability intervention plan with short, medium, and long-term goals. Well, let's do an overview of some of these policies and how far government has fared. My guest is African farmer Mogaji. He's also joining from our Abuja studios. Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Tolu. It's good to be here after some time, too.
Yes, it is. Let me allow you to take us through where we find ourselves after it's over 2 years of the renewed hope agenda. All of these policies around agriculture. What is your assessment and understanding of where we are?
Well, to be very candid, things started off on a very slow note, especially in the first year, which is understandable. But in the last 1 year, we've had quite a lot of momentum and a lot of turnarounds. I would speak for tomatoes. Last year, a basket of tomatoes went all-time high to 150,000 naira. Per basket to 200,000 between end of May to like middle August, and projected to be 200 to 300,000 2025. But with I would say the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Senator Abubakar Kyari, CON, he was able to galvanize government, private sector, and the prices were pegged between 25,000 to 50,000 naira, as against the 200,000 to 300,000 naira. And that's a big shift. And so in the first time in 26 years, you know, the government has been able to collaborate with private sector to actually reduce or keep the price of tomatoes stable. And you're seeing maize. As at this time last year, maize, a bag of maize, a ton of maize, which is 10 bags of 100 kg, was in the 900,000. Right now, it's in the 230,000 naira and below. So things are getting better. We're seeing quite a lot of unprecedented collaboration happening across board. We're seeing a lot of integration in ministries, interministerial relationship. The bond is getting better. So yes, I'm optimistic. I don't want to be trapped in Nigeria's past. I've been an incurable optimist of Nigeria's agriculture sector, but I am happy that things are moving in the positive direction. We're not there yet. There's still a lot to be done, but we're not where we used to be last year, 2 years ago.
Well, the president set up a committee talking about addressing price and, bringing price of foodstuff particularly down. And we've had series of reactions to this development. Some say, how possible is that? In your understanding, what do you make of committees and setups like this?
Well, like all governments do, when they set up committees, is always a step in the right direction. It's the results that the committee will achieve that's very important. Like I said earlier, I'm optimistic because we're seeing unprecedented collaboration. Gone are the days where the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Water Resources, basically the ministries involved in food security will try to do it alone. Now, you find more or some private sector coming up to say, okay, can we come and collaborate with you? So collaboration is, improving across board, and that's what's going to help. So I expect that with the new synergy happening, that the, bringing food prices down will happen. It's not rocket science, really. we waste, if we only ensure that 30 to 40% of what goes to waste no longer goes to waste, then the prices will go down. So I'm really optimistic. I'm really optimistic that by the end of the year, contrary to what a majority of the people think, that prices are likely to spike again. Yes, ideally, because when you have floods coming in end of September, early October, we should have prices go high, but being proactive will also nip that at the bud. But mostly, it's not really government that should do most of this. It's the enabling environment, which I'm seeing now. It's basically private sector. There are more MSMEs, micro and small businesses coming into the sector. Attention is gradually being given to the micro and medium scale, to educated people, not necessarily the rural farmers. So we are having a lot of exposure coming into that sector. And, the Minister of Agriculture, sometime last year, November, engaged MSMEs across the value chain. So that platform, that open arms from the ministry is helping, and I believe it's still going to help. And personally, I'm committed to ensuring that what we've been looking for in that synergy that is happening now, we ensure that we take it to the next level. And there's so many private sector now, who believe that they need to take responsibility of their future and not just saying government, government, government. So, yeah, it's a new Nigeria. Things have to get better, and will get better.
Distribution of grains. I spoke to the special advisor to the president just earlier, and he also talked about fertilizers. We've seen distribution of seedlings and all of that all around. What do you think that this has been impactful? That's number one. And if not, what are those practical moves that you think will really impact on the real farmers now? Well,
case in view, when the president did give out, I think it was 2 million bags of fertilizer, and later 2 million, another 2 million bags of fertilizers last year, without that intervention, everything would have gone haywire. That brought, stabilized the prices of fertilizers, helped some people who could not afford it, because as at sometime late 2023, cost of fertilizer was about 40–50% of the cost of production. So that helped many people to go into production, because all of that cost also had gone up. So that intervention worked. However, it could have been better, because the intentions were good. Many states did not leverage the fertilizers as it ought to. I always say this: if most of the state governors are as committed as you see in the federal, by now Nigeria should be 60–70% more food sufficient or food secure. But we need to up the game. Our seed systems, when it comes to seeds of major staples, tomatoes, peppers, grains, we need to do more investment in long term. The grains are good, fantastic, needed to balance things out, just like dollar is. But we also need to support the seed companies who cannot get funding from the banks for the long term. The banks would not give the money for long term, because they are also not getting depositors' money for long term. So seed systems, farm inputs, the agrochemicals, we need all this we need investment in these companies as against just buying. Buying is the immediate, the intermediate, and the long term is, opening it up, either giving them some tax holidays, but we need that seed system to work, logistics, and a couple of other things. But yes, that intervention is needed. In other climes in developed countries and co, they mostly subsidize or do intervention at harvest. Because we have a lot of fragmented value chains, breaks in the chain, we need to still support the production, but quickly we also need to move into intermediate and long term. But yes, we are doing it. And more, if government does this and we find more multinationals who complements this with CSR, like it used to happen in the 60s and the 70s, we will get to the promised land very soon.
talking about dry season farming initiative, I read something around that. I don't know if, are we practicing that in this part of the world?
Oh, yes, we are. Between October and April, every vegetable consumed in this country, mostly it's produced from the north, is all irrigated. Sometime last year, I was privileged to be in a meeting where the two ministers of state and federal from the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and the Ministry of Water Resources, the four ministers had a meeting, brought a few of us who were very experienced and exposed in dry season farming and climate smart farming, interfacing to see how things will work better. That meeting led to government supporting river basin farmers who are dry season farmers, irrigation farmers, with early input. That early input helped production start up faster. And also, there was another input coming, I think, around April, this year. So that engagement, again, it goes back to that collaboration. We are improving in the dry season. In fact, I don't know why many people don't talk about this. The president did give out quite a lot of money to all the river basins, clear the canals. So you have the expansion. I would like the minister or the Ministry for Water Resources to really speak a lot about that. I speak to that in Itoiki. I started my irrigation farming in Itoiki in 1995. And for over 20 years, that irrigation facility, about 500 acres, was moribund. But the president funded quite a lot of this river basin. And for the first time in over 2 decades, this year, that project will be functional. And it's across the country. So it will be good, if we speak out more, not to, blow the trumpet of the government, but for private sector to know that these facilities are available for them to leverage. That is very important. We need, that is one area I'm still seeing a gap, in the agri value chain, which is the stakeholders, amplifying what is happening so private sector can take advantage. Many people don't know that we have dams. Like Oyo State has over 20 dams. There are some challenges, but yes, the dams are there. I've been operating in quite a lot of river basin projects across the country. There are dams, there are rivers, there are infrastructures that we have not utilized. So we need to come out more. And I think I would challenge you, to get the Ministry of Water Resources to really talk about facilities available. If we get the river basin right this year, the dry season farming this year, come April next year, all this issue of food prices going up and down will be a thing of the past. But it's not just talking about what is available. We need expertise to be able to say this is what to do when it ought to be done. But I can say to you, Nigeria can feed Nigerians. The geographic location of Nigeria has everything that Nigerians need to feed itself. I am really optimistic, and I believe that if we continue at this trend, we will find some very high significant food security reports to give come April 2026.
I think it's a good way to live it. I must thank you so much, African farmer Mogaji is a food security expert. I must thank you for your time on the program. Do enjoy your stay in Abuja. I hope to see you soon in Lagos.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.